that's the thing that upsets me about men, like guys. I'm like, you can barely keep one woman sexually satisfied and you're cheating on her. I would never understand that. I've read these studies about the sexual satisfaction rates of straight women, and straight women, my condolences. The bullshit you have to deal with just to survive in this world, it makes me very, very sad. Straight women, you spend your entire lives catering to these men because society told you that's what you needed to do, right? And you do it really well. You give up everything. You give up your name, you give your body, you give it all up, like literally give it all up so that you can be in his world. And like this guy can barely satisfy you and still has the gall to go and cheat on you with somebody else. And it's usually somebody who's not even half as good as you are. I'm so grateful to God for not being straight in this life, because I feel like I've done this straight thing so many times, and it is quite frankly exhausting. It is the audacity, yes, the audacity that men have is like unbelievable. Dude wants a second wife, can barely satisfy the first one. How? Shouldn't you be practicing your skills with the first one, making sure you're like getting your skills levels up? It's so sad. And then you walk outside the house and you're supposed to be like, yes, it's my husband. Maybe I'm sad because I almost lived that life. And then like in the end, it's like, you did all this for what? I read this study recently. This is what made me like feel very depressed, and that's how I got here. They said that, oh God, what was it? Fuck, I wish I had it, because I like to be accurate when I'm quoting stats. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It was a study about like straight women and like their marital and sexual satisfaction. And those stats were like horrendous. It was so sad. I'm like, you guys are not having orgasms and you have to do all that? And he's got to put his chest hairs on you and his sweat. Oh, like I would hate for that kind of physical labor and to be left dissatisfied at the end of it all. I just, it's like, why? It sounds like punishment. It's like they barely try. Like, no, I would take my gay life anytime. Any fucking time. And in the next life too. Please, I do not want to come back as a straight woman. There it is. Study by Indiana University, Chapman University, and Claremont University, Graduate University, showed the proportion of people who usually orgasm during sex. Heterosexual women, 65%, 66% bisexual, 86% of lesbian, 88% of lesbian women, 88% of bisexual men. Ooh, go bisexual men. Good for you guys. 89% of gay men. Great. And 95% of heterosexual men. Do you see that? 95% of the time that you're doing all that work, they're happy, and you are the least likely group to be happy. That is sad. It's almost a setup. That is embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. If I was a straight guy, I would be embarrassed by these stats. Okay, I want to read more of this study. Other behaviors. Few heterosexual women climax. The study showed that of particular importance was incorporating oral sex along with other activities. Oh, look at that. This is very interesting. Other behaviors linked to greater orgasms in women. So this study was looking at, when they asked the women, what would help you feel more satisfied, right? What would you like to see from your partner that will help you feel more satisfied? Straight guys didn't have anything because, 95% of the time they're getting what they need. They're good. So asking for what they wanted. So part of this is your problem. You're not communicating. Calling or emailing to tease about doing something, like later. So they just want flirting beforehand. Wearing lingerie. Oh yeah, I'm sure guys are not doing any of that. Trying new stuff. Talking or acting out fantasies. Engaging in sexy talk and expression of love during the actual act. That's not a lot to ask for. But apparently, because of the stigma against women expressing sexual desire, straight women do not. So here it is, straight women. This is partly your fault. This is partly your fault. I can't put it all on the guys. But still, I would hate to have to it feels like slavery to me. It feels like slavery. Like I would hate forced labor. And I know it's not the equivalent of slavery. And I don't mean that obviously I don't mean that historically. I mean, it feels like forced labor, like something that happens to me and I just have to lay here until it's done, as opposed to actually being something enjoyable, which is very, very sad. Okay, so for all of that, I say, Gen Zs, have your poly relationships, live your life, don't force yourself into a marriage that is, you know, that has no value or warmth or any of that. Like, you don't need any of that in your life. You need to just stop trying to live up to society's expectations, because this is what your future looks like. If you're a straight girl in this world, it does not look bright in terms of satisfaction. So if you're not getting sexually satisfied and you're also getting somebody who doesn't listen to you and who's not interested in you emotionally and doesn't care to get to know you as a person emotionally, then I don't see what the point is of it. Like, what is the benefit to you when you could just be by yourself and be happy? I don't get it. Like, I don't get what you think you're gonna get out of it that being single won't give you. Because honestly, you could do better by yourself with 65% success rate, is all I'm saying. Because this is terrible. 65%. That's sad. There was another study, because I think when I read about this, there were 2 studies that came out back to back. Oh yeah, I remember now the other study. The other study was looking at general happiness, like satisfaction with life in general. And come to find out, single women, single straight women are the happiest of all the women. Did you know that? Single straight women are the happiest women. So that study came out the same week that the study came out about sexual satisfaction. So I'm like, why are you guys trying to like press this marriage narrative on everybody then? Like, why are you guys trying to make it seem like you're so happy in your marriage when the data shows otherwise? Like, what is that about? What's this agenda to push marriage down everybody's throats? We were happy to get married because we finally could acknowledge our partners. We finally could acknowledge them legally. And we could finally give our children the protection that they deserve. So for us, it was more about protection. Like legal protection. Because unfortunately, the society does not offer that to us by default. You know what I mean? So it was something to aspire to be excited about. But as far as like you guys, I don't get what the thing is. I don't get it. If I was a straight woman, I certainly would not be married. For what? I would have a bench. Let me tell you. That's why God didn't make me a straight woman, because I would not be growing. I would be my Capricorn energy, having a good ass time. I will pencil you in when I have time to see you. And I will erase you when I'm done. And you can go about your business. And stay out of mine. I just think we are moving into Pluto and Aquarius, which is about rethinking society on a global scale. This is why the government is trying to mandate people having children when they get pregnant. Because the government has noticed that Gen Z and millennials don't give a shit about these old traditional values that we have, like marriage and reproducing. And they're like, well, society is going to die off if people aren't having kids. So they're trying to force people, right? They're trying to force people to have babies because they know that these kids are not interested. Most of the people in the workforce are older. So they're worried about Social Security. What's going to happen? Who's going to be taking care of all the older people when it's time for them to collect on Social Security? No, in age, our population is now skewed older versus younger. In other countries, like in Africa, generally, population is younger because people have more children. And again, if a man is allowed to marry several wives, he can quickly have a lot of kids, right? But here, you guys only believe in monogamy, right? One man, one woman, till death do us part. Well, in that kind of an arrangement, the amount of kids you can have is already limited. So that's already a hurdle, right? And most men aren't really interested in raising those kids anyways, you know? So the US population is shrinking. They need people in the workforce to pay into Social Security. So everybody cannot be not working. So that's the issue we're having right now. And I think what's going to happen in the next 20 years is that monogamy as we know it, marriage as we know it, is going to change. It's going to change. And I think this idea of like this fake like happy marriage storyline, people are going to gradually do away with it. Again, I don't think marriage is for everyone. I think some zodiac signs have a beautiful disposition for it, and some simply do not. Like, I'm Venus in Capricorn. I love marriage. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I love knowing somebody inside out. I love the idea of like really bonding with someone. The idea of building intimacy with someone. You know, building a life with someone. I love all of that. But some Venus signs are not built for that life. Venus and Gemini. You should never get married. Okay? Venus and Libra. Especially if you have Libra in 12th house. Please don't. I can look at some charts and tell this person is not a marriage type. So you can never really know, you know, if it's going to work out for you if you don't know much about astrology. But I recommend learning about astrology so you're making the right decision. Venus in Pisces loves love more than they love committing to companionship. You know, they love the fantasy of love. But they don't actually like the not so happy parts of love. Venus in Scorpio is great at marriage, but they have to pick the right person. Venus in Scorpio needs somebody that can match their sex drive. If they don't have that, they will cheat. Or they will create war in the home every day. It's not going to be a peaceful home. Because Scorpio is very eclectic. Scorpio has a lot of unsteady energy. So Scorpio needs a lot of stimulation in the marriage. So if Scorpio is not getting that stimulation, you know, they will look elsewhere for it. It's not what they want to do because they tend to be very loyal and dedicated. So yeah. Oh, you said you were unhappy and you chose a non-committal type. Well, there you go. Yep. Scorpio needs intensity. Scorpio needs passion. Scorpio needs commitment. Scorpio needs you to be in there. Like, in there. Like, actively engaged in what's happening. And they can't do long-term relationships without that active engagement. Like, you gotta spice it up. You gotta keep it going. Like, you need to keep it fresh. You need to keep working on it. Scorpio is going to bring that to the table, though. But if you don't match their energy, you know, there's only so much they can take it. That's why when a relationship ends, I always say it's because of both people. It's never just one person. Scorpio needs 5 minutes. Yeah, guys. Scorpio women do not need 5 minutes. Scorpio women can go all night until the morning. That's the thing about lesbians. It never ends. And he doesn't have to. Because honestly, women are made for it to never end. But the way you guys define sexuality in heterosexual relationships is dictated by the guy's experience. So when he's done, then it's over. In lesbian relationships, it's not about him being done and it's over. It's about mutual satisfaction and there's actual communication around it. Because it's important to us that everybody gets from it what they came to get. Because women like to play fair. When you don't have that imbalance in the relationship that society puts on men and women, it's a lot more equitable. But society tells men they're here and women are here. So obviously when he's done, she's done too. Even if nothing has happened for her and she's miserable, she's done too. Alright. So straight women, much more power to you. Stay strong, my sis. Take care of yourself. Do what you gotta do. Because some of you, I swear, sometimes you think you want a man, but it's not really what you want. And some of you, you need to just be honest about it. Okay? Stop trying to force a narrative on your life. It goes for lesbians too. Some lesbians are not good at marriage. Some lesbians are not good at marriage. It's not a straight or queer thing. It's really, some people are marriage material, some people are not. Yeah, marriage is in your chart. I can look in your chart and tell whether you'll be successful in marriage or not. Actually, in fact, I did a reading one time for a client, and she was divorced, and she was single, like enjoying her life. Like, this woman is like sailing on the coast of Greece, you know, every summer, living life. Older lady, she's great. Single. Happily single, right? She comes to talk to me about love, and I'm looking at her chart, and I'm like, okay, promise me one thing, that you're never gonna get married again. Like, I just had to like give it to her straight. Like, please don't ever get married again. Ever. And if you're gonna get married, please sign a prenup. Please sign a prenup. Because all that's going to come out of that marriage is you losing your riches. That's it. You have no signs in your relationship placement. You're on husband number 2. Well, at least you're wanting to do the husband thing. Yeah, like, I'm not doing all that for what? Mars in Pisces is not good at resolving conflict in relationships because they're avoidant. They're passive aggressive, like Mars in Libra. But unlike Mars in Libra will like find passive aggressive ways to communicate their discontent. Mars in Pisces will altogether pretend there's no issue. They'll avoid the issue like the plague. They'll pretend it never existed. They'll pretend that it's not real. They'll pretend it's not impacting them. They'll just keep faking the funk until they can't fake it anymore. And by then, the relationship has deteriorated so much that it's not fixable. That's pretty much it. Mars in Scorpio is great in bed. That's what I would say. And very consistent lover. And they're also very good at conflict resolution because they're going to get to the bottom of the issue. They're not just going to like skim over the actual issue.
For more astrology content, you may follow all of our YouTube astrology channels. The first one being at Intuitive Healing for Astrology 101, at Styled Under Libra for Love, at Astrology Weekly for Horoscopes and Manifestation, and lastly at Styled Under Virgo for Medical Astrology. You may check out intuitivehealing.com for astrology readings as well as healing crystals. And make sure to check out our manifestation group on Patreon at patreon.com/intuitivehealing. Catch you soon on the next video.